Hey, LGG gang. I haven't been doing much on the R. Kelly story as of late because there's just so much going on and everybody's covering it. It's like I know we're all captivated by this saga, but every day there's a new and seedier detail released. Just yesterday, Lisa Van Allen confirmed the rumor that R. Kelly, and this is a rumor that R. Kelly's inner circle knows. And I've spoken to a few people. I did actually did one interview that I published, and another one that I didn't. I've talked to a couple people, and there is a rumor that's been out for years that R. Kelly did in fact have a sexual relationship with both Aliyah and her mother. Now, the one person that I spoke to about it said didn't want to confirm it but didn't deny it. The person didn't deny it but didn't want to confirm it. Didn't want to go on record as confirming it. So I took that as a confirmation that not necessarily that it is true, but that it's rumored and multiple people know about it. So what Lisa Allen said yesterday is something that his inner circle has discussed and seems like they've known about for years, and it's not something new. And I think a blogger, maybe about 6 months ago, I'd heard it, but it's like people kind of tap dance around that out of respect for Aaliyah's mom. The person that I spoke to said just because her mom had suffered enough, did not want to confirm that, but it sounds like it's a very strong possibility. So, LGG family, the more that I read and the more that I listen to various bloggers talk about Robert Sylvester Kelly, they're just thoughts and things that I ponder and just trying to understand this story and understand how it could have occurred. There are just some things on my mind and some things that people have not discussed. So, I'm going to share some of my thoughts, and then I want you to leave a comment and let me know if you've had some of the same epiphanies or thoughts that I've had. So there was an interview on Doggy Diamonds TV about a week ago, and there was a woman from Chicago that called in, and she described herself as someone who knew the family. She identified herself as Denise, and she lived in Aurora. I guess that's area in Chicago, where some of R. Kelly's family and, things have lived for years. And she spoke in depth about things that we've heard before and things that have been said about his family. And she's also talked about things that I have heard from a few people that I've spoken to, that are part of his inner circle. Again, I'm not going to disclose. There's one interview that I did publish, and I did speak to a couple other people. Did not publish, but has some information and questions. So some of the things that she stated, I have heard before. People will talk and don't necessarily want to go on record or don't want to be recorded or they want to be anonymous. And so sometimes if people don't want to present receipts, you just say, okay, well, thank you for the information and move on. But um, we've heard on several occasions a great deal about his mother, um, Joanne Kelly, right? But the thing that's interesting is that we never hear a lot about his dad. I mean, R. Kelly has a book called Solar Coaster where he talks about his dad. Um, and I think in one of the excerpts in his book, he says that he asked his mom one time something about his father, and he responded, and this is not verbatim, but his mom, he says that his mom spoke about his father as if he was the devil himself. And if you watched his interview with Gayle King, he kind of says that the ladies, the way that they're talking about him, that you would think that he was the devil himself as well. So that's kind of interesting to me that, as a child, that you have that reference or remembrance of your mom identifying your dad as the devil himself. And then in, current times that you are saying that people identify you in the same light that that women are thinking that you're a monster as well. So I think that's something for a psychologist to break down, but that's just, it's so eerie to me. So also in his book, he talks about the fact that he doesn't know his dad. He never met his dad. And his mom told him that, I am your mother and your father. So that was interesting. And I mean, as we listen, R. Kelly had a great deal of reverence for his mom. He talks about her in almost a romantic way, saying that he wanted to marry her. He has a video out where he talks about he proposed to her one time and asked if he could marry her. And I mean, it's almost incestuous. So when you listen to all of these things, it gets more bizarre. It's not the norm. I'm not saying I'm gonna say it's not normal. Some of the way in which he spoke about his mom was almost, it was incestuous in my opinion, and it just seemed really strange. So okay, so back to Denise, the lady who talked in the Doggy Diamonds TV interview. She mentioned that, again, this is all allegedly, that his grandfather molested him and his sister. So when you hear somebody say that a child is molested by the grandfather and then the sister molested the younger child, you would assume that the grandfather probably molested both of them, and then the sister took the role of the grandfather and continued on with the molestation. That's the way I viewed it. So putting all these pieces together, the grandfather molested him, and then another part of it is the niece says that R. Kelly's mother had him when she was young. So I'm assuming that the older brother and the sister, she probably had them at a young age. She doesn't disclose the age, but it sounds like she was young. So the couple of people that I spoke to said the mom had a drinking problem. It's all, again, allegedly. He refers to some of her drinking issues in his book himself, so that was known. But Denise says that the mom was young and she stayed with her dad, and the grandfather, which is her dad, molested Robert and probably the sister and maybe some of his other siblings. Interestingly enough, follow me, people, because I might not be connecting the dots correctly, but all the other three siblings, they know their fathers. Their fathers, because R. Kelly talks about it, would come over and take them out and take them on shopping sprees or see them for holidays. He was the only one who never met his dad, didn't know his dad, hadn't seen his dad. What if that grandfather was his dad? Because the mother, based on what Denise is saying, the mother lived with the dad, which would be R. Kelly's grandfather, I guess, while they were younger. What if, in fact, that was R. Kelly's biological dad? And I say this because he seems like the only one who didn't have a relationship with his father. Sounds like there was some incestuous relationships. I'm just going to say a damn curse. If the father was molesting his own grandkid, what makes you think he wouldn't molest his own daughter? Okay, that's number one. If the grandfather was indeed the dad, and because again, the lady Denise who was talking about the family in Chicago, she kept saying, she emphasized the fact that R. Kelly was slow, which I personally don't think that he was slow. I've seen him in interviews. I don't think the man is slow at all. I think he might be autistic. He might be not very educated, but I don't think that this man is slow in terms of any kind of remedial thinking process. He's very bright. He might not have the best vocabulary. He may not articulate well, but it's nothing, in my opinion, it's nothing slow about him. They keep saying he might have arrested development because of the molestation, which means that he might have stopped his mentally stunted in his maturity. But in terms of his responses and the way he's able to articulate with Gail, again, not necessarily a wordsmith or a grammarian or have the best vocabulary, but does not mean that he's mentally slow in the sense that he's retarded. I mean, I don't think we use that word anymore. Forgive me if it's not PC, but I don't think he's developmentally slow. I just think that maybe educationally or environmentally he did not have the best resources, and he may have been autistic, dyslexic, and all those things, but that does not necessarily mean you're stupid, slow, or retarded at all. It just means maybe not the best education. So that's just how I view it. But if we go back to looking at some of the things that we see or that we're hearing, if indeed his grandfather molested him, which could have been his biological father, that could lend to him being somewhat having some mental developmental issues. I'm not saying slow, but just some issues. It could be autism or whatever it could be. So, LGG family, I'm just going to leave it there and ask you, do you guys think that allegedly the grandfather that allegedly molested him could have been his biological father? And if so, if that's the case, that would even make this situation, this saga, this demonic, it's just a mess, even worse. Which is, it to me, it would be like a generational curse. So, those are just my thoughts. Leave your comments below. Again, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for tuning in to Laughs, Gags, and Gossip. Have a good one. Bye.